Live from Staten Island University Hospital Community Park, CSI Sportsnet brings to you NCAA Division II baseball action as the first pitch is hit into left field, and it's immediate one pitch, one out. That was Christian Rinnick on that fly ball out into left field. We'll give you the starting lines in just a moment. But, of course, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nicholas Pavona, joined by my broadcast partner today, John Venezia. And, John, we saw these two teams play 3 games last season. The Dolphins took 2 of those 3 meetings. Now they get to meet once again here at Staten Island University Hospital Community Park. They split their 2 meetings here at this facility last season, so we'll get to see how these 2 meetings go to here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a big opportunity for CSI to get off to a hot start today in a doubleheader on a beautiful ball field with an amazing backdrop. Let's get this first one out of the way, get the W, and then go for the sweeperoo. How does that sound?
I mean, as a CSI fan, you're absolutely looking for that opportunity to get so. Aiden Keelty will be the one that gets them out for the Dolphins here today. We'll give you his stats so far on the young season in just a little bit. Currently a 3-0 count right here for the Cougars batter. We'll get you that in just a moment. The Cougars batter right now is Stephen Young Jr. Now, I called 2 of the games last year between these two teams, including a thriller the second time these two teams played, a 7-1 come-from-behind victory for Caldwell, winning in the 9th inning on a go-ahead home run from Zach Saunders. They went on to win that game 8-7. So the Dolphins obviously still, a very stinging loss from that game last year. They were able to take the final matchup of the series back at Caldwell back in May, as Young Jr. is able to work himself a walk, and he'll be on first base with 1 out in the inning. And I think also, John, coming from in this game, the Dolphins, a slow start to the season, had a very tough trip down in Myrtle Beach. They came back yesterday. They were at Chestnut Hill facing the Griffins. They split that doubleheader with the Griffins in Philadelphia. So now, as you mentioned, trying to come back here today, technically playing their first home games of the season here today, and try to get some victories and get some momentum as the season goes along.
You know what? It is really hard for cold weather teams. We've seen, even in the Division I front, a lot of these cold weather teams are off to slow starts because they don't have the same advantages as some of these southern teams. So they're having to play catch up and, even still work through today. It's a 25-degree day, and it's hard for pitchers to get warm and to get loose and get in game shape when you're having to deal with these kind of conditions. And I'm sure our pitchers are going to have a tough time feeling their hands even, let alone feel the ball today. So it's just something you got to work through, and this stuff will get worked out over the course of the season.
Keelty checks the runner at first base. Back in safely is Young Jr. At the plate is Liam Lombardi. And that's an interesting point you bring up with the weather, and that could definitely play a factor into these 2 games here today. As someone that, that was out for a little bit in the cold today, there was a St. Patrick's Day parade earlier today. It's still currently going on, but had to make my way through the traffic and, all the festivities, and it was very cold outside. I could definitely attest to that. It's definitely brutal, and for a commentator's perspective, thankfully we're in a nice press box here at this facility down in St. George, but it is brutally cold out there for some of these players, and we'll see how that will play a factor, if it does play a factor, as this game goes along.
Yeah, I mean, I was walking up here. I'm in a nice coat with a beanie, and I'm set up here in this nice press box that we got, and I'm still a little bit chilly.
Oh yeah. Well, thankfully for us, there was the question of were we going to open up our window for our camera view. I think on a day like this where it's very cold, we're going to just keep it safe today, keep the window closed for today, and if the weather isn't as bad during the upcoming week where the Dolphins will come back here to play the next couple of games, then we might be able to open the window, maybe even have a second camera view for those games as this upcoming week comes along for CSI. At the plate now, Liam Lombardi still in the count of 2-2, 1 out, and Young Jr. at first base. There goes Young Jr., swing and a miss for strike 3, throw to second, will not be in time. A bit of a low throw from behind the plate, took a bounce towards second base. Young Jr. in safely. The Dolphins do get a strikeout on the play to get the second out of the inning, but now the Cougars will get themselves a runner in scoring position and a chance to bring home the first run of this game.
That was a nice heater. Just blew it right by him, and you can tell Lombardi was just looking for something out over the plate to hit to get that runner over, and to no avail. But as you said, Caldwell threatening right here. This is an early test where CSI's got to stiffen up.
Yeah, the Dolphins, and I think the biggest thing for them, John, so far this season is the Dolphins have had some of these innings where pitching has become an issue and defense has become an issue for them. They've been doing good overall in terms of batting, but with the Dolphins have had the unfortunate circumstances for between 1 or 2 innings where that's where the game gets away from them. And that's kind of what happened, as I mentioned earlier, with the game last year against Caldwell here, where the Dolphins were controlling, cruising throughout the entirety of the game. And the last 2 innings, that's where Caldwell took advantage. They were able to score 7 unanswered runs and win that game 8-7. So the Dolphins, they obviously want to try to avoid that here today, and they are now 1 strike away from getting out of this current jam.
And we've seen so much, especially in the Division One level, but it's all of baseball. How many times are you so close? You're one pitch away from getting out of an inning, and you don't make the pitch, you don't make the play, and that leads to run or potential multiple runs. But right here, Aiden Keelty has an opportunity to throw up a goose in this first inning. So see if he makes a pitch. I will go slider off the plate here. Get him swinging over the top.
Liam James on a 1-2 count. That one's just in there for strike three. So he does get the strike three benefit and retires the side. So the Cougars do strand a runner in scoring position here in the top of the first inning. We'll now head into the bottom half of the first inning. Dolphins coming to bat.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Hey, we are back from Staten Island University Hospital Community Park. I know, John. Try saying that 10 times in a row. Very tough to say. But nonetheless, we are back for the bottom half of the first inning. Dolphins were able to strand a runner in scoring position as Aiden Kilty got a strikeout to retire the side in the first inning. And now the Dolphins will come to bat for the first time here today, facing a familiar pitcher that they saw last season, that being Brandon Scalisi. And as we know, the Cougars are playing their first games of the season here today. So we'll give you Brandon Scalisi's stats from last season. Scalisi last year 5-5 with a 4.85 ERA, appeared in 13 games, 10 of those were starts, one complete game, 65 innings, allowed 88 hits, 46 runs, 35 of those earned, 17 walks, and 42 strikeouts. And John, after this next first pitch, I guess Michael Flashner will give you these stats from Scalisi's 2 starts that he had against the Dolphins back here at this facility last year. Michael Flashner takes a first pitch strike, currently 0-1.
Always nice to take the first pitch.
I'm of that mindset too.
Unless the pitcher absolutely grooves one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a leadoff home run as much as anybody on the first pitch. But,
of course.
Listen, you always want to see how the pitcher's coming in. Sometimes the nerves. This is Scalisi's first start, so make sure he's attacking the zone.
This is low for a ball count 1-2 to Flashner. Scalisi last year, as I mentioned, pitched 2 games against the Dolphins. The first start against CSI, went 4 innings, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, all those earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. His second start, a very strong outing against CSI, 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. So definitely does have an issue in terms of walks allowed, but he definitely has been able to work out of some jams in these 2 starts that we saw against CSI last season. We'll see at the Dolphins. I think, obviously, John, early on in this game, especially with Flashner at the plate, we've seen so far what he's done on the young season. The Dolphins would like to get a nice kickstart to the bottom of this first inning.
Absolutely. And, when you're facing a guy like Scalisi, whose the command has been impeccable his last 3 years, it's might be hard to work walks against him, at least right up front. But because this is his first start of the season, you never know how he comes in. And I think, honestly, the best approach, especially with pretty much any offense, is to just work that pitch count up, and you want to get into the bullpen as soon as possible.
Flasher did just that, but he does swing and miss for strike 3, and he's retired for the first out of this bottom half of the first inning.
Good breaking ball on the outer edge there, and Flashner was getting some heat blown by him early. He was late on a couple fastballs, and Scalisi pulled the string on him to get out number 1. Very well done.
That brings up T.J. Leno up to the plate, and as we saw, John, the hero over yesterday for the Dolphins over Chestnut Hill, a pinch hit home run against Chestnut Hill, I should say, and giving the Dolphins a 5-3 victory in that game, a game in which the Dolphins were trailing for the majority of that game and were able to work their way back, and Leno's home run gave them the lead and gave them the victory. In the second game of that doubleheader, the Dolphins were down early. They made a nice comeback towards the end of that game, but unfortunately lost that game by the final of 13-10. So we've seen the Dolphins these last 2 games. They've shown some resiliency in trying to fight back their way into these games. Obviously, they want to get out early into this game and make sure that they don't have to make sure that later on that they're fighting back from a deficit that they currently have.
Yeah, you always want to get up to a good start early. When you have to play catch up, especially this early in the season where you're not really in your groove yet, that's where the trouble happens. We see a lot of these teams, they get behind early and they're just unable to come back because it's difficult to stack 3, 4, 5 hits in a row and against a pitcher that doesn't walk many batters, issue free passes. It's very difficult. So it's good to get off to a good start early and give Kilty some support and stake him to a lead.
Count still 1-2 on Leno right here. Leno getting the start for the Dolphins in the second spot. Currently the second baseman as well for CSI. Flashner at shortstop again once again. We'll give the Dolphins remaining order as this at-bat goes along, as that pitch just misses high for ball 2. The count evens to 2-2. Now the other problem for us, John, too, also is we're going to have to potentially relay over to our right. We don't have the scoreboard currently on here at the facility, so we're just taking a guess. I'm taking a guess sometimes as to what the pitch count currently is. I believe it's currently 3-2, so I think it is a full count for Leno. But us not having our scoreboard and our scoreboard, a little bit of a tricky situation, but I'm sure as this day goes along, we'll be able to get past it. As Leno does work the walk, so I was right. He did have a full count, and he's on first base with 1 out.
Yeah, great at-bat. And we talked about the command early on in this broadcast here, how Scalisi has been relatively sharp in his career at Caldwell. And here you go. You got an early walk in the first inning. But as it pertains to the scoreboard, I got to say, the only reason I showed up today was because of the scoreboard. I was looking forward. There's rumors going on about this scoreboard being fantastic.
It is a great scoreboard, but I think one of the workers here for the Ferry Hawks, I think, was not able to attend today. I think he had other issues to attend to, so that's why the scoreboard is not on. So we're all playing pretty much a guessing game, I would assume, at this rate.
What's his address? We'll go pick him up.
We might have to, as Palomini had to duck out of the way on that last pitch. He's quickly up in the count 2-0. And there's another thing also, John, is now Leno gets on first base, and you bring up a dangerous hitter in Palomini, who last season obviously broke the record for stolen bases in a year for the Dolphins, and is already off to a flying start so far this season, already hitting 500, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs on the young season.
Yeah, this kid's a stud. I called many games for CSI last year, and every single one of them, I just kept coming up with Chris Palomini's name because he was always doing something spectacular.
Yeah.
Whether it was on the bases or at the plate or in the field, this kid is a playmaker, and this is somebody that, to start off early in a doubleheader, he's got to make a play here. How about that right center gap that's wide open?
Meanwhile, the other thing I think is funny, and you can probably see it somewhat, folks, on your camera view for where we are positioned here. You can kind of see the white outlines as well. There is definitely a football game played, or maybe even a soccer game, whichever football you want to call it as Palomini does work the walk. There definitely was a game played here not too long ago, and the lines are still in the outfield as well as the infield. So it's a little bit of an interesting wrinkle that you bring up for the field here today.
I like the football field overlay. I do. This is very Oakland Athletics playing with the Oakland Raiders.
Right, the Coliseum.
The old school Miami Dolphins with the Florida Marlins. This is bringing me back to the days 20-plus years ago. Fantastic.
But then this next player up for the Dolphins, John, another guy you saw last season, A.J. Vigliotti, taking a first pitch strike, but he's off to a nice start as well this season. But we saw the numbers that he's had so far in his tenure so far with the Dolphins, and senior this year, looking to end his senior season with a potential playoff appearance, as the Dolphins are still searching for that first Division II playoff appearance. And Vigliotti would love to do something here, especially with first and second and 2 very good runners on the base pass for the Dolphins.
Look at Vigliotti. Throwback player. This kid just reeks of power. No batting gloves in a freezing day. This is an old school ball player. And this kid, I want to see a home run today, even in these elements, these conditions. I think A.J. Vigliotti could be that guy. I think he could put one left center deep where that scoreboard is.
You want him to hit the scoreboard?
Yeah, I do, actually. You know what? It's not turned on, so we're not
I
using
mean,
it
I guess the
anyway.
lights want to go out if that's the case, so I guess that's not the worst thing to happen. But Vigliotti definitely has that power to make sure he can get a home run, and he's definitely swinging for a home run so far in this at-bat. Count now is 1-2 on him, and I did see a couple home runs hit here at this facility last year. A lot from both sides of these two teams, as well as the other games the Dolphins played here. So there definitely is potential for a home run that could be hit here today. And as we've seen so far from Vigliotti's at-bats, that definitely could be the case. Now, I will say also, John, that last foul ball, if we did have the second camera, that camera would be in grave jeopardy of potentially being hit by that foul ball. So maybe a good thing we didn't set it up here today. But like I said, maybe Tuesday we'll set it up. As Vigliotti does hit that one.
That's going deep.
That's going over the head of the right fielder. That takes a one bounce off the wall. The Dolphins will at least get one runner home. Leno does round third. He will score. Palomini thought about scoring. He will be held up at third base. But nonetheless, it is an RBI double for A.J. Vigliotti. Dolphins strike first. They lead this one 1-0.
And this is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about, the power. A.J. Vigliotti, early in the at-bat, was looking to pull something, get that fastball in and try and tank it over the left field wall. What does he do? In a nice adjustment, 2-strike count, he lets that off-speed travel, doesn't try to do too much, and he flips it out deep into right field. Not only does he get on base, but he scores the run and keeps the line moving. This is the kind of thing I was talking about earlier in the broadcast about getting to Scalisi, stacking base runners, keeping the line moving, etc.
And I think the beauty of Vigliotti, and we've seen it throughout his Dolphins career, we've seen him have that opposite field power. He had to lunge out of the way kind of and hit that one towards right field, and he hit it in the most perfect spot that for the Dolphins they currently had. Right center field was wide open for Vigliotti, got it over the right fielder's head, and got that at least one run, and now forcing the Cougars in this spot to move their first baseman just a little bit towards the grass and try to prevent a second run from scoring, as the Dolphins have Jaden Waterman up at the plate trying to give them a potential 3-0 lead with a single.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little surprised that with Vigliotti up, the outfielders seem a little shallow.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I feel like
that could be. That definitely looked like it for a bit.
And you know what? He put it right over their heads.
Yeah, he did the exact thing he needed to do. And you mentioned the home run power that he has. He was very close to getting a home run over that right field wall. Just took a one bounce towards that wall, and he was very close. You got to wonder maybe if the wind played a factor into that happening.
Definitely. The ball is not flying right now, and you actually see the wind blowing out to the right a little bit there. But right now, this is the opportunity for CSI to stake Keelty to a 3-0 lead. You have ducks on the pond right now. You have a big-time hitter up. This is where you got to put the ball in play. We talk about this all the time. 2-strike counts. You cannot swing for the fences, shorten up, put the ball in play, strikeouts kill.
Meanwhile, for Waterman in this at-bat, he was down 1-2 in the count. Now has worked it full. And he's able to work himself a walk. So the Dolphins are now going to have the bases loaded. Still one out in the inning. Good thing for the Cougars is they'll still have a chance of a double play ball to get themselves out of this inning. But now a chance for the Dolphins for Jack Kehoe. And with one big swing, John, that could put the Dolphins already up a huge advantage as this game goes along.
Yeah, for CSI, I mean, you got action, baby. You got business going on right now. Hang a nice crooked number. We have bases loaded, one out. This is the opportunity the CSI Dolphins want early on and give their pitcher a nice lead.
And meanwhile, for Jack Kehoe, we know he also has the power ability to get something for the Dolphins this season. On the year, already hitting .333. He already has 2 home runs, so he's tied for the team lead with Palomini. Has 3 RBIs, and with one big swing, as I mentioned, could really open up this game early. And as we mentioned, I believe right now the word is that this could be 2 7-inning games. So if that is the case, great start for the Dolphins potentially. If Kehoe is able to get something into the gap, give the Dolphins an early lead, considering that this is potentially a 7-inning contest.
Absolutely.
As he does hit this one into center field, that will be playable and caught in center field. Palomini will tag from third base. He will score. So a sacrifice fly for Kehoe right there. His 4th RBI of the season now gives the Dolphins a 2-0 lead here in this first inning.
That's it. Job well done. That's all you got to do. Put the ball in play. He had a frozen rope to dead center, and he gets the run in. And that's exactly what you want. Put the ball in play. No swing and miss. No strikeouts. And you got to love that at bat. That's a big time at bat right there for CSI.
So I'll bring up Anthony Sotero now with 2 away. Dolphins still have first and second on the inning with now 2 outs. As they try to at least bring home one more. They have 2 so far here in this first. Getting to Scalisi early on. As you mentioned earlier in this inning, the Dolphins have made him very much work in this inning. They have dialed the pitch count up. I don't have the exact number right now, but Scalisi has had to throw a lot of pitches so far in this first to try to get himself out of it. 1 strike away from straining those 2 runners.
Oh, yeah. And you know what the great thing is? Because today is a doubleheader, even though it is rumored to be 7 innings apiece,
Right.
you have all these bullpen options, and now it kind of plays with the idea of, okay, who do I use? Who do I save for the next game? So
Sotero hits a slow roll to second. That will be flipped on to first base to retire the side. But go ahead, John, finish your point before we head to break.
I was just going to say it's good that you got his pitch count up early. It's because it's his first start of the season. He is probably on a shorter leash than he would be if this was 2 months later.
Yeah, and John, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the matchups for these 2 teams because it's not the first time, as well as the second game of today's doubleheader, that these 2 teams will play this upcoming week. So we'll break down the Dolphins and Cougars schedule once we come back from this short commercial break. Dolphins get 2 runs in that bottom of the first inning, an A.J. Vigliotti RBI double, a sacrifice fly for Jack Keogh gives the Dolphins a 2-0 lead as we head to the top of the second inning.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Top of the second inning now here at SIUH Community Park. I'll try to maybe shorten that for the rest of the day to keep it for myself. As the first pitch swing is hit into right field. Keogh on the run. Initially stepped in, but had to fight his way backwards. And that was what we were talking about, John. The wind definitely could play a factor into some of these hit balls out into right field. You saw it on that one right there, but Keogh is able to track it down for the first out of this top of the second inning. But great start for Keelty. For second straight inning now, he's got a 1 pitch and 1 out.
How much do you love that? Keelty, stake to a lead. 1 pitch, 1 out to start the second.
Big swing and a miss right there. As Devon Cass at the plate. He's quickly down the count 0-1. Dolphins in that last inning were able to get an RBI double from Vigliotti and a sacrifice fly from Keogh to give themselves this early 2-0 lead. That's quickly Keelty now up in the count 0-2.
I like how Keelty's attacking the zone. He's not backing down from these Caldwell hitters. You know, he's just going right after them. Fastballs in, fastballs challenging these hitters, so keep it going for Keelty.
That one fouled back right towards the press box and towards the suites over to our right. And for Keelty, this is his second start of the season. His first start came back against Adelphi down in Myrtle Beach. And at that point, that was the Dolphins' first win of the season. And that game that he started, he went 5 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. As that one's hit the short, Flashner is there. He'll throw it on to first base in time. Cass is retired, and there's now 2 away.
2 quick outs. Look at him attacking the zone. Nothing fancy. Good old-fashioned heat. And then he's dropping the hammer on him right on 2 strike counts. And this is why it's working. He's getting outs.
And that brings up Jimmy Kurtz, but quickly 2 away in the inning. So after a very long bottom half of the first inning, Kilty has quickly gotten 2 outs, as you mentioned here in the top of the second, and is 1 out away from a 1-2-3 top of the second, giving the Dolphins right back to the bottom half of the second inning and giving those bats some more opportunities.
Yeah, I think for Kilty, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. Keep that pitch count short. Try to go as long as you can. Save that bullpen because, like you said, we have 2 games today. And let this offense go back to work on Brandon Scalino and try to get to Caldwell's bullpen. So that way you can just keep stacking runs and keep that pen fresh.
Yeah, Scalisi had a very long first inning. I think the official pitch count that we had was 36 for Scalisi. Unofficial, but I believe that was what we were told was his pitch count after the first inning. So a very long first inning for Scalisi. Will have to work himself to try to get at least a couple more innings for this Cougars team. Now, I mentioned going into our last break that this is not the first time these two teams are playing for the next couple of days. After today, the two teams will meet it back here on Friday for a single game against each other, and then they will both head to Caldwell for a doubleheader the next day on Saturday, March 8th. So the first of 5 games that these two teams will play in just under a week's span. So some very familiarity between these two teams will happen in the next couple of days, as a walk is issued by Keelty to Kurtz with 2 away. So the Cougars will keep the inning going.
Yeah, you hate those. The two out walks. There's nothing I'm sure that infuriates coaches more, but I can't stand it as well. You got Caldwell on the hook right here, and you give him a free pass. And the worst part is now you give an opportunity for Caldwell to flip that lineup for potentially this inning, but definitely next inning.
His first pitch misses on the outside in the dirt for a ball 1-0. At the plate is Chris Hopp, the catcher. Try to keep a 2-out rally going for the Cougars here. After Hopp will be the number 9 hitter. That is Patino. That will be Christian Patino Jr. Count currently 1-0. That one just misses for a ball. 2-0 now to count. As I mentioned, this is the first game of the season for Caldwell as well. So the Dolphins have already played 7 games so far in the young season. Caldwell getting their first licks of the 2025 year. So that one's popped up in the infield. Sun is going to be a problem today for the Dolphins potentially, but the play is made at second base by Leno, and that will retire the side here in the top of the second inning. Cougars do strand a runner here in the top of the second. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Dolphins lead this one 2-0.
When all eyes are on the court, we're focused on what matters most, preparing college athletes for a lifetime of opportunity. After the buzzer, off the court, it's about education and working to earn a degree. Creating healthier campuses through groundbreaking research and policies. And a fair shot so dreams can stay on track. United as an association, we've got work to do. We're building a pathway to lifelong opportunity.
And we are back for the bottom of the second inning here at SIUH Community Park. A 2-0 lead still for the Dolphins. That first pitch from Scalisi misses on the inside for a ball 1-0. The worry is that Scalisi finished with 38 pitches in that first inning, so a very long first inning for Scalisi. Will now try to work his way back into the second inning. Ground ball to short, throw on to first base is in time. Quickly, there is one away retired here in the bottom of the second inning.
Yeah, for Scalisi, that's a nice bounce back. You get a quick out to start the second, and after the first inning, where I believe it was 38 pitches, that's something that's a big confidence booster so he can settle back in. But if you're CSI, just keep putting the ball in play. This is early in the season, so not everybody is as sharp as they will be later on.
That first at bat was by Johnny Bowman, so he was retired on just 2 pitches. At the plate now is Michael Keogh, who's getting the plate. Is getting the start behind the plate today for the Dolphins. Let's took that first pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. He fouls that one back. Dolphins lineup today: Flashner at short, bats first. Leno batting second at second. Palomini batting third and in center field. Vigliotti at first, batting fourth. Waterman batting fifth and in left. Keogh batting sixth and in right. Sutera batting seventh at third. Bowman, the DH, batting eighth. And Keogh batting ninth behind the plate. That rounds out the Dolphins order. In the next half inning, we'll give you the lineup for the Cougars. So there's a big swing and a miss from Keogh right there. He's now in a 2-strike count. That one hit up the middle. Takes a bounce off of the mound. That'll be a tough play at first. And the Dolphins get the benefit of the call. It's a base hit.
Put the ball in play. Look at that hustle down the line. That was going to be a tough play for the Cougars. And he just beats it out. That's why you hustle down the line, and that's why you put the ball in play.
That's one of those weird bounces you see there, John, sometimes when it comes off of maybe the second base bag. But that might have hit the actual pitcher's mound where the pitcher is about to start his windup, and it just took a weird bounce. And for the Cougars, they were still able to make a play towards first base. But Keogh, as we've seen, has been able to get some base hits throughout his entire career as a Dolphin in infield singles, as that one was bunted down the third base line and foul. Michael Flasher back up for the Dolphins as they're back to the top of the order. And with Keogh's abilities to run, as I mentioned, the Dolphins, if they are able to get him into scoring position with the heart of the line coming up soon, could be a chance for the Dolphins to increase this already 2-0 lead.
Absolutely. And by the way, I think that did hit the pitcher's mound. Otherwise, I thought that was going straight into center field.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to hit off the second base bat the way it was going initially, and I think it hit off the mound, which made it bounce like that.
Even with the Cougars' middle infield pinching, I am surprised they were still able to make a play. But listen, this is a good opportunity for College of Staten Island, and looks like they're trying to get that sack punt down. But I think
that's up toward the Dolphin dugout right there.
Might be trying a little slash play. You see that big gap between the third and shortstop, the 5-6 hole. And that's something that can go first to third very easily if that's executed successfully.
Yeah, we saw Keogh running on that last pitch, and Flasher potentially was trying to get that one down the third base line, but just missed it by a couple. Swung a little bit just late, and it went right towards the Dolphin dugout. Palomini had to jump out of the way on that play. That one hit the second, could be 2. Throw on the second for 1. Throw on to first base. It's a 4-6-3 double play, and that will retire the side. And for Scalisi right there, John, a huge double play to head us now into the top of the third.
Absolutely. Bad first inning, bounces back in the second, gets a little bit of traffic, works around it with a beautiful inning-ending double play, 4-6-3.
Well, now head into the top of the third inning. Dolphins strand a runner on after the 4-6-3 double play. We head to the top of the third. Dolphins lead this one 2-0.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
And we're back for the top of the third inning here at SIUH Community Park. Still a 2-0 lead for the Dolphins. Brian Scalise was able to get himself out of the last inning jam with a 4-6-3 double play, and now gives his Cougar lineup a chance to come back here in the top of the third inning, still trailing by 2 runs.
Yeah, and listen, we've talked about this. Kilty's look phenomenal thus far early, but 2-0 in college baseball with metal bats is not a big enough lead. He needs to throw up another goose here, and we've talked about it. He's been attacking the zone, attacking the hitters. He needs to continue to do that behind that heater.
Yeah, you saw it right there, that first pitch, a big swing and a miss from Christian Patino Jr. As that one in there for a strike, he's quickly up in the count 0-2. And for Kilty, we saw that last inning, in the second inning, he got a pretty quick 1-2-3 inning. Or I should say 1-2-3. He did walk a batter, but he still had a quick inning regardless. And that was big for the Dolphins because after that long first inning they had on Scalise, they were trying to go right back to work and try to get some more runs. But for Scalise's case, he was able to get himself out. All right, John, I think we are back live. We had a network issue here back at the facility. A walk was just issued by Kilty. Keeps the inning going for the Cougars. So now they have first and second, still 2 outs in the inning. But before we went into that, a little bit of a brief interruption, as we should mention with the connection. It is a little bit spotty. We do have a Ethernet cable, but I think it got popped out somehow. So hopefully that does stay into place for the duration of this game as well as the second game. But before we went into that a little bit of a break. We saw the play in center field for Palomini leading, unfortunately, to an error, giving the Caldwell their first run of the game. But now a walk right there gives the Cougars a chance with a base hit into the gap, a chance for them to take the lead for the first time today.
2-out damage, 2-out walks. This is the second 2-out walk of the inning, and an error. Walks always find a way to come around a score. And if you're Kilty, you've only allowed 1 run, no real damage done yet, just 1 run. You can live with that, but things can snowball very quickly. So you got to stand tall, make your pitches, locate. And listen, if they put the ball in play, he is not giving up a lot of hard contact today, if at all. So just keep doing what you're doing.
And keep in mind, he is still not allowed a base hit so far. That could be a commentator's jinx if it does happen this is a bat.
What are you doing? Come on. This is early in the game.
It's early in the game, but it's more of the point of how Kilty's been good so far in this game. The only damage was that play out in center field. So a chance for him to at least escape this inning and keep it a 1-run lead for the Dolphins.
The announcer's jinx. If you do that, I will blame you.
Absolutely. You know what, John?
Everybody listening, blame my play-by-play
listen,
commentator.
if you want to blame me, you can. It's fine. I've been called Nickstradamus sometimes. I've been called the jinx as well sometimes. It happens. It is what it is. That one's hit foul. I will say that I think some of the Dolphin fans were happy with me last season. I think I was a catalyst and called into one of the Dolphins' wins. I think it was the walk-off hit that they had. They had here against Holy Family last year, and I was given a little bit of some nice feedback for that game, but. Unfortunately, I have been very prone to calling no-hitters, and then they get broken up.
Jinx.
Not as bad as our other broadcast partner, Joe Foreman. He's worse. If you think I'm bad, Joe Foreman is even worse.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, as Stephanie Smallridge is doing our stats today, says Jinx Supreme. That was her, Joe. So if you listen back to this broadcast, I did not call you that. Stephanie called you that. That one ripped to second. What a play by Leno, playing that one off the bounce. He throws it in time to first base to retire the side. And, John, a huge play defensively for the Dolphins to get them out of this inning.
That's big. Kilty settled down, only allowed 1 run on the error. CSI still in front. Now they go back to work with an opportunity to do more damage.
Yeah, I think now going into this third inning, we'll have to see how they bounce back from that bottom of the second. They were retired pretty quickly after that inning double play. We'll see what the Dolphins do in the bottom half of the third inning. Caldwell brings home a run off the error in center field. We head to the bottom of the third. Dolphins lead this one, 2-1. TJ Leno will lead off the bottom of the third inning, fouling that one off down towards the Dolphin dugout. Currently down the count 0-1. Caldwell now gets into this game, John, after that error on the top of the inning. Now trailing this game 2-1. As we head to the bottom half of the third inning, and if it is a potential 7-inning game, we'll see as this one goes along. That could be a really big backbreaker for the Dolphins trying to hold on to this lead.
Well, it's early.
It is early.
Even in a 7-inning game here, no need to panic. Just get back to doing what you're doing. Work on getting on base, getting on, getting over, getting in.
And a nice catch in right field for the first out of the inning, as that was a ripper by Leno into right. But a great play out in right field by Young Jr. Initially looked like he was going to run in to make the play, but he had to stop himself and jump over. And if he, honestly, John, if he doesn't jump and make that catch, that's going to be an extra base hit for Leno on that play.
Yeah, that might be a triple. That was a frozen rope, but you get mad at the result, but not the process. And the process was he fried that one. So keep putting the ball on the batting the ball like that, barreling it up. Those are going to fall for you sooner than later.
And it's funny because we just saw a replay of that play in right field, but he was right in between some of those hash marks where the football lines are out on the outlier of the field today. So very interesting to see a fly ball hit to right where the football field lines are out there as well.
I think they backed up a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a touch.
And I think with the next two batters do up at the plate, I think you have to. Palomini, we know, has had home run success already, not only last year, but this year as well. Bigliotti, we already saw, had a home run bid earlier in this game, so expect to see the Cougars give them some space and try to make sure that nothing gets into the gap.
If you're Palomini, after the error, this is time to make amends, and he does just that with a little poke, single, got on. This is why Chris Palomini is a fantastic baseball player. We got CSI in business here.
Yeah, he's going to love the comments you're making today, John.
Hey, listen, I call it the way I see it. I'm not being nice. I'm being honest. And he is a great baseball player, and he shows us again why.
Now, the question is, are some people going to call you bias?
No bias.
No bias.
This is straight down the middle.
I know Joe Foreman doesn't like when he has broadcasters that are sometimes biased. I have no problem with it, honestly. I know CSI fans are very, very happy to hear great comments about the players that give their heart out for this program for the entirety of their collegiate career. And Palomini is no stranger to that. He gets that single out into right field. And we saw Vigliotti, as we mentioned earlier, had himself a nice extra base hit into right field as well. So with Palomini already on base, we know about his stolen base accolades. If he's able to get into scoring position, gives Vigliotti a chance to bring home another run.
Absolutely. We saw him hit a towering fly ball, and you see the right fielder, how much he backed up. He's got to back up from where he was in the first at-bat to now. It's got to be at least 20 feet. This kid is not going to let Vigliotti put one over his head again unless that one goes over the fence.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. They had Young Jr. in right field playing a little bit shallow to where the center fielder and left fielder are positionally. Young Jr. is a little bit further back this time around, but there is still a bit of a huge gap at right center field. So if he finds that gap, then that would be an easy pickings for the Dolphins to bring home another run if they give them once again a 2-run lead.
This is a big outfield. There is a lot of room out there, so anything in the gaps, you get one in the power alley, you're going to be running for a long time.
Yeah. And Vigliotti giving himself a nice hitter's count right here. Palomini still on first base. He's so far 1 for 1 on the season on stolen base attempts. As I mentioned, a great 2024 season for him last year. Broke the stolen base record. There he goes, as the Dolphins were going for the hit or run right there.
I like the hit and run call, though. You know, you're trying to create some havoc on the base pass. Like we said, trying to get one into the power alley there and get that run back that you allowed.
See if he goes again. He does not. Vigliotti does hit that one into right field. Young Jr. is there. Still trying to play it with the wind. Does make the catch to get the out. Palomini is tagging from first to second. Is he in time? He is just in time. As the Cougars thought they had a double play ball to retire the side once again. But Palomini just got there safely. And that will extend the inning for the Dolphins.
That was a fantastic throw by Young. He gunned that one in there. I didn't even think they were going to have a chance at getting him. Palomini, heads up base running. That was very close, and that was a great tag, too.
Some might say that was a dangerous decision by the Dolphins right there to send Palomini to second base. I know he has the speed, considering that ball was from right field, gives the right fielder a great chance to make that throw to second base. And as you mentioned, Young Jr. made a great throw out from right field to second base. And looking back at the replay, it was a 50-50 call at second base to see if that was going to be an out right there, recorded by the Cougars. But nonetheless, the Dolphins do extend the inning on that play and now bring up Jaden Waterman with 2 away and a runner in scoring position.
They take a chance on the base paths. It pays off. Now you have an opportunity with a base hit to get another run. So Chris Palomini making it happen. Now it's up to Waterman to find a gap here.
Waterman so far already with 3 RBIs in the season, that all coming in the Dolphins' first game of the season. A bases clearing hit. Give the Dolphins an early lead in that contest as he hits this one into right center field. That one will drop and get through for a base hit. Palomini will round third easily. He will score. Waterman does deliver on an RBI single. And as you mentioned, John, the Dolphins played a risky factor, bringing Palomini from first to second on the sacrifice. And it pays off on the RBI single from Waterman, giving them now a 3-1 lead.
Scared money, don't make no money. That's why you take the extra base. You get clutch 2-out hitting from Waterman, shorten up, just put one to the right center gap, and look what happened. You're up 3-1. We got action, baby.
Dolphins definitely have some action going in this game. Now a 3-1 lead, and they get that run back. And for Palomini, that has to feel good as well, John, because he had that error in the last half inning and was able to run from first to second and then going from second to home on that hit from Waterman, as you saw in our replay.
100%. He atoned for his mistake. He atoned for that error that he cost his team in the last half inning. But now he got it back. And now it's back to a 2-run lead. And listen, the same thing can happen here. I mean, Scalisi is struggling a little bit to find the zone. As there goes Waterman.
He's going to be out at second base. A nice throw from behind the plate from Hoff to retire the sides. The Dolphins do strand a runner. But go ahead, John. Finish your point before we head to break.
No, I was just going to say that there's still another out to go. So more action could have happened. More damage could have been done. But still, we got the run back and, go back to work for Keelty.
Well, the Dolphins do get some damage in that bottom half of the third inning. An RBI single from Jaden Waterman now gives them once again a 2-run lead. We head to the top of the fourth. Dolphins lead this one 3-1.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Devon Cass will lead it off here in the top of the fourth inning. As he goes first pitch, swinging, hits this one to right center field. That one's going to be trouble. It's a base hit. Keogh hits this one off his glove. He'll throw it into second base, but will not get there in time as Cass goes first pitch swinging and is on for a leadoff double. So, you know what, John? The commentary strings almost was brought up in the last inning. I don't think you can bring it up in this inning, considering I didn't mention it as the inning start.
Yeah, I'll give you a pass for that one.
Okay.
If you're Keelty, though, I think he just tried to give a little get-me-over slider for strike one, and the Cougars were going hunting early. And that's a beautiful piece of hitting for a leadoff double to get them back in the game.
I like what you did there, Cougars hunting.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And now a batter is hit. Jimmy Kurtz is hit by the pitch, and just like that, John, the Cougars will now bring up the go-ahead runner to the plate. And with one big swing, they could take their first lead of this game.
This is the thing with not just college, but baseball in general. Things can snowball very quickly. You see CSI put up a run, and then Keelty leadoff double first pitch, and then he hits a batter, and all of a sudden he's in trouble. First and second, nobody out, and that's why you cannot let it snowball here. He's got to get out number one.
Big chance for Chris Hop right here. We'll see if he potentially bunts. He does lay down the bunt. It's down the first base line. Vigliotti will throw it to first. And playing first base on that play was Leno, so a 3-4 putout for the Dolphins at first base. Both runners do advance into scoring position, though, for the Cougars. And now, with just a normal base hit right here, they will tie this game at 3.
Yeah, so now they're going to go infield in, but if you're CSI, you get out number one, but the bad news is you got 2 Cougars on, second and third, 1 out. So everything's got to stay in front of you. And if you're Keelty, you could use a strikeout right about now.
And also, think about this as well. Patino Jr., the number 9 batter in the order. After him, it's right back to the top of the lineup for the Cougars as well. So this is an all-important out right here for Keelty if he's able to get it. If not, then that would be some potential damage for the Dolphins as this inning goes along.
Absolutely. And if you flip this lineup with multiple runners on base, less than 2 outs, then CSI needs to really buck up and make sure that they can get this one done.
Huge at bat right here for Patino Jr., trying to potentially tie this game for the Cougars. Down the count 0-1 as he takes a big swing and a miss for a strike, and he's now down the count 0-2.
That's a great pitch by Keelty. Going right after him. No funny business. I think he climbed the ladder here. He's got the advantage count. Fastball, see if you get him swinging. You got a hitter down in the order here to get himself out.
Here comes the 0-2 on the outside, but just misses for a ball. 1-2 as Keogh was trying to frame that just a little bit to get Keelty that strikeout. And we've seen a couple of times already in this game that Keelty has been able to get strikeouts on that outside corner. Looks like he just missed it right there.
I think I'm going right back to climbing the ladder on the fastball.
Here comes the 1-2, and he did just that. He threw that fastball right past Patino Jr. for strike 3 and a huge out number 2 recorded by Keelty. And he's now 1 out away from getting out of this jam.
Beautiful pitch. I felt like the fastball was just too much for him. Had to continue to go back to it. So now you flip the lineup over here with Rinnick. I think you got to attack him the similar way.
Rinnick could have a dangerous at bat right here, being a lefty, especially with that wind out in right field. Base hit could tie this game easily. And if he's able to get into scoring position, could give the Cougars a potential opportunity to take their first lead of this game. First base is still open. It's second and third. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. 3-1 lead for the Dolphins, and it's a 1-0 count for Rinnick. And a great stop behind the plate by Keogh, saving that one from being a wild pitch.
I mean, obviously the top of the lineup is up, and you have a leadoff hitter who's making solid contact, but you still don't want to give in, even with the number 2 hitter on deck.
Yep.
Young is a very talented hitter, but you got a base open here, so don't force anything. It's 2-0. Don't groove one. If he has to walk, he walks. Like it's a 3-0 count now, so.
And the only good thing for the Dolphins, if it does get the bases loaded for Young Jr., they would have the force at any base. So that would be the good thing, at least for CSI. But the damage could be even more threatening if the bases were to get loaded. It's a 3-0 count to Rinnick. And that one's in there for a strike to make the count 3-1. And I think also, John, the good thing for Caldwell is we've seen a couple of innings where Keelty's gotten some quick innings. This one, they have made him work so far here in this top of the 4th, and that has led to them getting into this position so far.
Absolutely. So if you're Keelty and you can get out of this as he walks Rinnick, bases loaded here, 2 outs. So if you can get out of this, I think Keelty might be live to go 5 innings, and if he does well there with a reasonable pitch count in that inning, might be able to go 6 in a 7-inning game.
Yeah, we do see some action up in the Dolphin bullpen. Now, from our vantage point, we're not really going to be able to see that number. We'll definitely be able to see it if the Dolphins do make a pitching change. There is some stretching and warming out towards the Cougar bullpen, so we'll see if any changes are made in the next half inning, or maybe potentially in this inning. Young Jr. would potentially like to make that the case for the Dolphins. He's down the count 0-1. Does have the bases loaded, 2 outs. Dolphins can get the force at any base right here try to get them out of this jam.
That's a nice pitch. I don't know where that missed.
It looked like maybe just missed on the inside. A couple of instances here as well, John, from last year, and a couple of games the Dolphins had at this facility. They had a couple of scenarios where they had gotten themselves into jams where it was bases loaded or second and third and one out, and they were able to get themselves out of those jams. They could really use another instance right here. There's a potential. Ground ball to Flasher. He flips it onto Leno in time, and the Dolphins do get themselves out of the bases loaded jam, and they strand the runners to retire the side. So the Dolphins still go into this bottom of the fourth inning, still unscathed, and now still leading this game 3-1.
The Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, Opus Plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information.
And we are back for the bottom of the fourth inning. Dolphins still lead this one 3-1, and John, Aiden Kilty able to work himself out of a huge jam in that previous half inning. Dolphins had bases loaded, 2 outs, and they were just able to get out of that inning unscathed to keep this a 3-1 game here in this bottom of the fourth.
Very clutch pitching. Needed the big pitch. He made it. And now look what happened. CSI still up 2 runs with an opportunity to do more damage and add to that total.
This will be Jack Keogh leading off the inning for the Dolphins, trying to lead it off so far. He has a sacrifice fly already in this game. Dolphin right fielder, and to his RBI total on the season now, I believe second behind Palomini for most RBIs so far in the year for the Dolphins.
I think Scalisi's, struggling a little bit to find the zone again here in this third inning. And if you're the bottom of the CSI lineup, you know what the move is. You got to work the counts, get on base, flip that lineup so more runs can be scored. Routine ground ball hit to second, but it is mishandled, and we got our first runner of the inning. That should be scored an error, but still on first the same way. So CSI, 1 on, nobody out.
Satara now comes up to the plate for the Dolphins. Dolphins now have a runner on first after that error.
Satara flashed the bunt there, so looks like maybe he's trying to do a little sacrifice here to get Kehoe up into scoring position. He's definitely got the attention of Scalisi.
Showing bunt once again, and that will be bunted towards the pitcher. Scalisi looks at second, but he'll head it to first base, and that'll retire the first out of the inning. Going to second base is now Keogh, as the Dolphins will have a runner into scoring position.
Well done. Got the sacrifice executed. We know we've seen a lot of players that cannot successfully execute a sacrifice bunt. Satara gets the job done, moves the runner over. Now let's see what the rest of this lineup can do.
Chance here now for Bowman. The runner in scoring position takes that one on the inside for a ball. He would retire quickly his last time up. Dolphin designated hitter batting in the 8th spot. Trying to give CSI an opportunity to increase their already 2-run lead.
The Cougar bullpen's a little quiet. You got somebody up warming up a little bit, but it doesn't look like he's ready to go in anytime soon. So if you're able to tack on some more runs here on Scalisi, you might force Caldwell to go to the bullpen a little bit sooner than they were hoping for.
To mention the last half inning, they do have some stretching and warming going out towards their bullpen. That one hit the short. Could be a tough play to get Bowman out at first base. Throw is in time for the second out of the inning. And staying at second base will be Keogh. So for Keogh to get home now, John, it'll be up to his brother Michael Keogh to bring him home.
I think Mom and Dad would like that a lot.
I'm sure they would.
Keogh to Keogh damage. And that was a fantastic throw by Rinnick.
Yeah.
That was a hose.
Yeah, they needed that one. That one looked like it was going to be trouble when that was going towards the gap potentially. As Michael Keogh hits this one in the infield. Going to be a tough play at second base, but fighting the sun and making the play out in short right field is the second baseman Brown, and that will retire the side. Dolphins trying a runner in scoring position here in the bottom of the 4th. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Dolphins lead this one, 3-1.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Bunt down the third base line. The Dolphins will let it go foul. So how about that to start off the inning there, John? A first pitch bunt from Liam Lombardi.
It's a three-hitter.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I like it. You try to catch the defense napping. We've seen teams do that before, and Lombardi, I like the idea. Just couldn't execute it successfully, and he's back to swinging away.
Trying to catch the Dolphin defense off guard. It almost did. That was a perfectly placed bunt down that third base line. They just had to let that one go foul. As he pops this one up in the infield, in foul territory, Keogh was there. He will make the catch and retire the first out of this inning.
Very quick out for Keelty, and you know what's great for that? Keep his innings limit extended, and give that CSI bullpen a little bit of rest. I'm sure the Dolphins pitchers would appreciate that.
Yeah, and we heard that the unofficial pitch count was 70 for Kilty after that last inning. So a 2-pitch first out will definitely help his case if he wants to go a little bit longer into this game and potentially get the Dolphins bullpen at least one game off in this doubleheader as Liam James fouls that one off down the right field line. He's quickly down the count 0-1.
Early in the season, especially for the Northeast, I'm sure the pitch counts are going to be a little bit more limited than they normally would be, but I would hope that Keelty could go 6 and then just bring in somebody to close it out in the 7th.
Dolphins do have some action up at the bullpen. Last time we were informed about a reliever warming up, it was Ryan Fiore. Curious to see if that is still him warming up right now down the left field line for the Dolphins. That one ripped foul right off of one of the press box windows potentially. Hopefully that wasn't the case, but that's the danger of sometimes playing at this ballpark is a very quick swing from a foul ball going from behind the plate right towards one of these suites.
Our vantage point up here isn't the greatest in terms of seeing where the location of the pitch was, but we can see Keelty to James is trying to go.
He's trying to go on that outside corner.
Away.
Yeah.
I think I'd change it up here, climb the ladder again with the fastball. This kid looks like he's ready to put one over the wall.
He might have a chance. That one hit into right, but it is shallow. And right there was Keogh, the retired James, for the second out of the inning.
See? Look at that. You put a fastball, climb the ladder. He put a good swing on it. Fair enough, but that ball was what we call an atom ball, right to the right fielder. Now we got 2 quick outs here, and let's see if Keelty can get a coveted 1, 2, 3 inning.
And he's been searching for that the last couple of innings. We've seen some innings where he's gotten the first 2 outs and then has issued a 2-out walk to extend the inning. So the Cougars would certainly love a 2-out walk. That would bring up to the plate the tying run. A chance right here for Sean Brown to extend this inning for Caldwell.
I think Keelty needs to just keep doing the same thing. He's attacking the zone all day with the fastball, and then he's trying to get it over with the slider to finish. And here we go. Routine ground ball, second base, and that is a 1, 2, 3 inning for Aiden Keelty. Bravo.
I have to check the pitch count, John, because that was a very quick inning for Keelty. We mentioned 70 going into the inning. I don't think he threw over 10 pitches in that inning. He might have thrown under 8. I'll have to get an exact count before we go. I should say when we come back from this next commercial break. But a 1-2-3 inning nonetheless for Aiden Keelty as we now head in to the bottom of the 5th inning. Dolphins lead this one 3-1.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Michael Flasher will lead it off here at the bottom of the 5th inning. Still a 3-1 lead for the Dolphins heading into this inning. Brandon Scalise is still on the mound for the Cougars. Throws a first pitch ball 1-0. Unofficially, believe that was his 80th pitch thrown. So, John, after that rough first inning that he had, where he threw about 38 pitches in that first, he's kind of calmed down in terms of his command The Dolphins did get another run off of him in the next couple of innings, but he has gotten that pitch count down, and he has a chance potentially to go the full way in this one.
Absolutely, and you look at him. His MO is command.
Right.
And after that first inning, he's been pretty good. Yeah, he got touched for the one run, but in all honesty, he's pitched pretty well today. He's kept the Dolphins at bay, and I am curious to see after this inning what his pitch count looks like and if he's going to end up going the whole way.
That one out of play down the third base line. The count now goes to 1-2 for Flash now. We also were trying to figure out how many pitches Keelty threw in that last half inning. I believe he threw 9 pitches in that last half inning. So both of these pitchers came into this inning with 79 unofficially pitches thrown in this game. So Keelty, nice job by him to throw under 10 potentially, if that was the case in the top half of the fifth. That one flown out to right field by Flasher. It is caught in left field for the first out of this bottom of the fifth inning, as the Dolphins trying to keep their 2-run lead.
I don't want to pull an announcer's jinx here, but we got a little pitcher's duel shaping up here through almost 5 full innings, and Scalisi gets that all-needed first out of the inning on his first batter. So let's see what the top of the order can bring for CSI.
Now, John, once I have a chance, I'm going to try to see what an update we have from softball, as they are playing their first games of the spring games this season. We saw them on Sportsnet, myself, I should say. I saw them last week on Sunday at City Hall. As that one is a base hit into center field off the bat of TJ Leno, so he's out with a 1-out single as the Dolphins try to extend their already 2-run lead, as there's the 5th base hit for CSI.
Yeah, good rope by Leno. Get a little action started early. Now guess who's up? Chris Palomini, followed by the big boy, A.J. Vigliotti. And if CSI wants to add to that lead, now would be a good time.
Palomini coming to the plate. He's already made some damage into this game. That's a great base runner the last time he got on. Would advance to second on a fly ball to right field from Vigliotti, would then score on an RBI hit from Jaden Waterman.
Even with the 3-4 up here, don't be surprised if we see a little hit and run, because the Cougar middle infielders have been pinching all day, leaving those 3-4 gaps and 5-6 gaps wide open for base hits that can go first to third very easily.
Dolphins had it a couple times so far in this game shown a hit and run. Haven't seen it done just yet, but they have tried to show it throughout this so far, the majority of this game. Now, the update for softball, they're playing the University of Mary today. They are currently leading 4-2 in the top of the 6th inning as Palomini swings and misses at that one in the dirt for strike 3, and there's now 2 away. Dolphins trying to start their young season at a 3-0 record after their 2 wins last week at Seton Hall over Chestnut Hill.
I think Scalisi learned his lesson the last time Chris Palomino was up. He attacked him slider, got him swinging in the dirt there. So that's what we mean when we talk about adjustments through the course of a game, and when you have to flip the lineup 1, 2, 3 times, and you have to come up with a different approach.
Vigliotti took a big swing and a miss on that first pitch for a strike count 0-1. Has himself an RBI double already in this game. Another gapper. Would definitely bring home that runner.
He's hit the ball well today. Even his outs have been loud. So Vigliotti's gone to right field a couple times here. The third baseman is playing well off the bag, so I would love a little double down the line here. But you know what? I like the Vigliotti approach today as well, because early in his first at-bat, it looked like he was trying to pull everything, and now he's content to just go to right field, go the opposite way, and not try to do too much.
I think that was a testament to what we were talking about earlier with the weather. With the wind pulling to right field, I think you got a sense of it, and the first couple of swings he had in that bat, had to realize to himself and saying, okay, the ball's moving towards right field. If I get it down into right field somewhere in that right center field gap, or over the right fielder's head, I'll have a chance of an extra base hit, and that's exactly what he did that first time up. Count for him right here is 2-2. He's another big swing and miss down that right field line, but foul. But the distance of that foul ball went a miles away down that right field line.
I wonder what the CSI coaching staff told Vigliotti when he came up here, because they might have told him that center to left field does not exist and it's only right field, and he's just trying to go Oppo Taco today.
Yeah, and I think the majority of our games last season that we called here, the majority of the home runs did go into right field. Now I can't see the left field wall in terms of feet. in terms of the distance from that left field wall to home plate. Down the right field line is 318. So good chance for these hitters to get it into right field. And speaking of getting it into right field, that's going to drop in for a base hit. Vigliotti's on to first. Leno goes from first to third. He's in there safely. So Vigliotti's on with his second base hit of the day, sixth hit of the game for the Dolphins. And now Leno goes into third base, and the Dolphins will have a chance to bring home another run.
Multiple hit day for A.J. Vigliotti, who has hit the ball hard every time up today. He has made it a priority to go to right field. And you look at CSI's base running. Aggressive. TJ Leno was going of first to third and will not be denied. And now CSI's got runners on the corners with a chance to add to that lead. So they need to capitalize on the moment here.
And talk about the irony of that play as well, John. We mentioned earlier with Young Jr. having to back up after that first hit that Vigliotti had. He was backed up again on that play, and that one fell just right in front of him for the base hit. So an unfortunate break right there for the Cougars. So that one's grounded to short. A little bit of a bobble, but it is still played out in second base to retire the side. So the Cougars almost a bit of a scare right there. But they do get the final out of this bottom of the fifth inning as the Dolphins strand two runners here in this fifth. We now head into the top of the sixth inning. Dolphins still lead this one, 3-1. And we're back for the top of the sixth inning here at SIUH Community Park, where the Dolphins have a pitching change to start this top of the sixth inning. Ryan Fiore will get the mound for the Dolphins, making his third appearance of the season. And John, he's off to a great start so far on this young season. He has pitched in 2 games already. He's pitched in 4 innings, 2 hits allowed, no runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts so far in the young season.
This is going to be a big test for him. Aiden Kilty threw a gem, 5 innings. No earned runs. The 1 run came on an error, and preserving a 3-1 lead, this is sort of the same sentiment that needs to be echoed. Attack the hitters, no free passes. Let your defense work, baby. They want to get some work in and get some action here in the field.
And I believe the final stat line for Kilty after that last inning is as a swing and a miss right there for a strike on the batter, Devon Cass. Kilty going, as you mentioned, he pitched the 5 innings, allowed 1 run, not earned, 5 walks and 4 strikeouts, also hit a batter on his line of the day, but still a great start for Kilty to get the Dolphins at least 5 innings in this game, and he is now in line for the victory if the Dolphins are able to hold on.
And for Fury here, it's a bit of a different look, coming out of lower arm slot. A lot more breaking balls, trying to get the call there, and as he blows a heater by, announcer Jinx there. I would say, Nick.
Oh, you know what? The Dolphins will take that announcer's jinx. They're perfectly fine with that one. Cass had to swing and miss on that pitch on the inside. And the count now evens at 2. That one ripped down the third base line. Terra is there. And he'll make the low throw to first base in time for the first out of this inning.
It's so big, especially as a new pitcher coming in. You get that first out. You shake the jitters because this is only his third appearance. So not just for the game itself, but as a pitcher, you want to make sure that you're preserving that confidence and getting quick out so that way it can continue to build throughout the year.
And I think the other thing for the Dolphins, especially, and from head coach, manager Mike Morrow, the Dolphins are trying to figure out what exact relievers that they're going to be relying on as the season goes along. As I mentioned, they've only played 7 games so far. We saw Nick Pucinelli get a save in yesterday's doubleheader than the first game against the Griffins. So the Dolphins are trying to figure out exactly who are going to be those most reliant people that they turn to once their stars at least give them the 5 or 6 innings that they give, and who's going to be those guys that can get you those holds, those saves, and get you potential victories at the end of the day. That one hit up the middle, and that one will get through for a base hit. So Jimmy Kurtz is on with a 1-out single, and that will bring now the tying run to the plate here for the Cougars.
Sounds so doom and gloom when you say this will bring the tying run to the plate.
Yeah.
It's true, but it sounds doom and gloom. I need you to be a little bit happier, a little bit more upbeat there. But listen, Fury just kind of let that one hang over the plate there, and great advantage by the Cougars to capitalize on it. But
yeah,
this is an opportunity here for Fury to lock this down, get one of those ground balls. He's working in a lot of off-speed breaking stuff. You saw the first at-bat he faced was a ground ball to third base. You get one of those, turn 2, you're out of the inning.
Yeah, Dolphins would certainly love an inning double play as that one hit foul behind the plate by the catcher Hop. He's down the count 0-1. And I think the reason why maybe I sounded doom and gloom is the situation that you have. The Dolphins have led the majority of this game, but they only have a 2-run lead still in this one. They've had a couple of chances to bring up some more runs, but credit to Scalisi on the other side of things for Caldwell. He's been able to keep this game in check for his batters, and as I mentioned, with one swing, that could tie this game up for Caldwell as this game goes along. And they still have a runner at first base as they check the runner on that last play.
I think CSI would be very happy if they can get out of this game using just 2 pitchers,
right.
one bullpen pitcher, because then basically it's open season for everybody else for game 2, and you want to preserve as many arms as you possibly can, and honestly, it's good for the ticker too.
Especially as well, considering that they played those 2 games yesterday against Chestnut Hill. They had to use a couple of relievers in those 2 games as well, so the Dolphins really needing an extending of their starters as well as maybe potentially their relievers in this game. And if this is a 7-inning game that we potentially believe it is, John, they might have Fiore try to go 2 innings, try to get a 2-inning save.
That would be big, and I think that's the goal here. So if Fury can get off to a good start, it looks like
slow roller, and that will be not enough to get the Dolphins double play. So a big break for Caldwell there. They do get the runner into scoring position, but if that was hit a little bit harder, that would have been any double play potential for the Dolphins right there.
Yeah, but you see Fury does the exact thing that you needed. You get the ground ball. Unfortunately, it was not hit hard enough. And I like the fact that CSI didn't try to force anything by getting that runner at second and getting the lead out. They took the sure out. Now it's 2 outs. You make one pitch, you're out of it.
Meanwhile there, if you didn't see, John, it looks like
Is that a balk?
That was a balk. Yeah, balk right there from Fiore. Now brings the runner 90 feet away from home. So now a chance for the Cougars to make this a 1-run game.
Yeah, that's a buzzkill because now for Fury, who likes to throw that slider and that off speed, if you bury one, you better be ready to get behind it if you're the catcher.
And look at that. That balk is going to come in to score for the Cougars as the wild pitch now makes this a 1-run game.
That was not an announcer's jinx, so if you're listening and you are blaming me, you better not blame me. That was not an announcer's jinx. I was merely stating the fact that it is important with a runner on third and a big backstop to keep it in front of you.
So how about that start of a sequence right there? The Dolphins had the runner on second with 2 away. The balk moves the runner to third, and then 2 pitches later, the runner scores from third base, and now it is a 1-run game here in the top of the 6th. And this is where, as I mentioned earlier, these sequences the Dolphins unfortunately have had so far so far early in this season. They had a couple of those instances as well last season, so they're trying to make sure that they keep themselves out of this jam and hold on to this lead and try to at least get some insurance runs in the next half inning.
I mean, listen, the run scores, but it's not the end of the world. You're still leading, and the thing is, like I said, you cannot make it snowball. You give them the run, fine. You're still up one, and you only have 3 more outs to go to get this game, but you're guaranteed at least 2 more at bats. So if you're Fury, don't worry about it. Don't make this out to be a bigger deal than it is. Just get this out, and we'll go back into the dugout, and we'll add some more runs in.
I think the Dolphins thought that was strike 3, but I think it was just foul tipped and not caught behind the plate. I think the count's full of 3-2. I'm not 100% sure. I have it there just as a precaution, but I think the count is full at 3-2 for the batter right here. Fiore trying to get out of the 6th, and I think he hit him. Regardless, it would have been ball 4. So Patino Jr. is on, and that's also a backbreaker right there, John. That's the number 9 hitter in the order, and now it's back to the top of the lineup for the Cougars. But we might have a pinch hitter or pinch runner, and I think that is going to be the case. There might be a pinch runner coming at first base. Rinnick is staying into the game as a pinch hitter, or excuse me, as the hitter.
Yeah, that can't happen.
And number 27, Alan Hernandez, is going to pinch run at first base.
If you're Fury, that can't happen. You just gave up a run because of a balk and a wild pitch, and now you nobody on. You walk the next hitter and flip the lineup for the top of it with Rinnick coming up, and now you really need to be nails.
And I'm curious to see, John, would they potentially try to send Hernandez to get him into scoring position? But that one won't be any factor, as that one hit down the first base line. Nice scoop from Vigliotti. Will retire the side. So the Dolphins keep that runner at bay here in the top of the 6th, but Caldwell does score a run via the balk and wild pitch. We now head into the bottom of the 6th. Dolphins now lead this one 3-2.
And now we're back in the bottom of the 6th with a new pitcher for the Cougars. It's going to be Ben Foote against the freshman Jack Kehoe. College of Staten Island clinging to a 3-2 lead. It's important for Kehoe to try and get on base here to set up for the top of the lineup. As he has to dodge out of the way, it's ball 1, nearly gets hit. To be honest, I probably would have wore that one to get on base, but Kehoe is able to scurry out of the way.
All right, thank you, John. I had to attend to the other room to help with substitutions out in the field for the Cougars. As you mentioned, a new pitcher as well for Caldwell, that being Ben Foote, coming in to pitch for the Cougars. Now, the change that we had in the field, as we saw in the last half inning, Alan Hernandez was a pinch runner. He's now out at second base. And now Sean Brown, who was initially the second baseman, is out in left field. Moving Liam Lombardi now into center. And the rest of the defensive alignment stays the same for the Cougars here in this bottom of the sixth inning. And now 3-2 lead for the Dolphins here after that last half inning. And for Foote, trying to keep it a one-run score, give his team a chance to tie it.
Yeah, you've seen Kehoe how to get out of the way to a couple of these pitches as he's trying to work inside here. So for Kehoe, status quo, man. You just got to keep working these pitches. You can tell Foote, maybe it's nerves, maybe it's a mechanical issue, but he's kind of been all over the place. And when a guy is not consistently pounding the zone, make him earn it.
Almost swung on that pitch on the outside, but held up. I believe the count now is full of 3-2. Keogh's had some nice at-bats in this game. He's got himself already a sacrifice fly. He's made some bids for a base hit as well. He just fouls that one off behind the plate. Now, I also will say, it's very tough, John. I don't know if you can see it on my laptop right here. It's very tough to see the batter at the plate because of the shade that's currently going on behind home plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And when the ball has to disappear from the sun into the dark, that's got to be a very tough task for hitters. As Kehoe works a fantastic leadoff walk, and we've seen Foote try to paint the corners, paint the inside corner with that slider, that breaking ball, and Kehoe wasn't falling for it. And it was a very good at-bat, and this is an opportunity here for CSI to put up some runs and close the door in the top of the seventh.
And John, we saw the last time with the situation with Terra having the runner on. He tried to lay down a bunt and move the runner into scoring position. I expect him to do it once again right here.
Third baseman's a little bit back, but
almost a dangerous throw right there.
You could see him creeping in a little bit, not giving his hand away. By the way, what kind of NI deals do you think Foote gets? It's a pretty good name. He's got to have a sneaker deal at some point.
Maybe
right?
It's Foot Locker. Foot Locker's still on a thing, right? They're not still. I don't think they are.
Dr. Scholl's?
Maybe.
So
we do live in a different world with NIL now.
It's
weird to say that still.
Here you see the Cougars. Third baseman Cass creeping in. He's playing normal depth right now, but with every pitch he keeps sprinting up for a potential bunt. Now I might look at a first base side bunt because they got to hold the runner on.
Right.
James is not moving off that base for a bunt.
Yeah, he's checking Kehoe to make sure he doesn't potentially try to steal or try to catch him caught stealing at the first base bag.
And Foote is keeping a very close eye on him.
There's another bunt laid down. In there for a strike. Dolphin third baseman trying to get the runner into scoring position.
See where that umpire is with the Bermuda Triangle? That would be
nice.
That's not the sacrifice bunt territory.
Yeah,
just in general.
It is easier to point out, as we mentioned with the the football lines in this game. It is easier to point out where where the umpire could be, where some of the outfielders and infielders are currently playing. If honestly, if they had the numbers for the like the 40-yard line, the 50-yard line, all that, you could easily point out exactly what yard line they're at as well. But Terra swung and a miss on that one, and I think that was one where I think he thought that Kehoe was going to run to second base, so he was trying to protect the runner, and Kehoe went back to first. So kind of a half-hearted swing, somewhat right there from Cetera. Now with 2 strikes, really cannot lay down the bunt, so he'll have to try to swing away right here. But he does try to lay it down, so unless I have the wrong count, which I don't think I do. It's now full, so that was we've already seen the Dolphins do an already potential dangerous situation with Palomini go from first to second. Dolphins trying to potentially almost bunt right there with 2 strikes. Let's see if Kehoe goes here on 3-2. He does not. Cetera grounds this one to second, could be 2. Flip to second for 1. On to first base. It's a double play. Another 4-6-3 double play turned by the Cougars, and there's now 2 away.
That's the twin killing. Listen, I do believe that there is some validity to nobody out, don't send the runner on 3-2. That's just an unfortunate luck of the draw here, especially with the fact is you're going to have the lineup turning over pretty soon. But now, at the bottom of the lineup, they need to get on for that to happen in this inning.
We have Johnny Bowman now with 2 away. He goes first pitch, swinging down the right field line, blooper, but goes foul towards the bullpen of the Cougars. We'll get a second look at that last double play turn by Caldwell. That was a little bit of a slow roller towards the new second baseman, Alan Hernandez, and a nice flip to short and a perfect to the shortstop, I should say, and it turns that double play. And just like that, now quickly 2 outs here in this bottom of the 6th.
He had to flip it behind him.
Yeah.
He was not in line with the bag. He had to turn
Not
around
an easy
and flip
play for someone that just entered into the game defensively.
it. Absolutely.
Hernandez did a great job, the Cougar freshman, getting his first licks of his collegiate career. As Bowman now quickly in a 2-strike count here. His Foot trying to get the strikeout to retire the side. And Bowman just getting a piece of that one. Keeps the count at 0-2. That one hit towards short. It will again be a tough throw from short, but they do retire Bowman in time. And that will retire the side here in the home half of the 6th inning. We now head into the top of the 7th. Dolphins still lead this one, 3-2.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
Now the top of the 7th inning here at SIUH Community Park. Dolphins still lead this one 3-2, and we have another pitching change coming here for the Dolphins. Here in the top of the 7th as Nick Pusinelli will get the mound for the Dolphins in this one. I mentioned earlier he got the save in yesterday's first game of their contest with Chestnut Hill. Going in that game 1 inning, allowing no hits, no runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. For Pusinelli, this will be his 4th appearance of the season. He has had so far 2 saves on the year as well, so going for a potential 3rd save right here. He's pitched in 4 of a third of an inning, has allowed 9 hits, 8 runs, 4 of those earned, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, with an ERA of 8.31. John, a chance right here. If this is a 7-inning game, a chance for him to get his 3rd save of the season. You have the Dolphins, their 3rd win of the year as well.
And he's going to have to earn it. He's got to go 2, 3, 4 to set down in order to get this out here in this inning to potentially save the game if it is indeed 7 innings. And it is no easy feat as Young laced a ball foul directly behind him.
If there was any player or any spot in the order that the Cougars would love to have in this spot, down a run with a potential final 3 outs of the game, this is the spot they wanted in. You mentioned Young will lead off, followed by Lombardi, then followed by James. And Young is hit by the pitch. And that will bring the tying run to first, and now the go-ahead runner to the plate in Liam Lombardi.
Yeah, you can't do that. That is tough because
Now,
obviously it's a safe situation, right,
Right.
Nick? But the fact is, you always want to get that first out early. You want to get it out of the way. That kills some momentum for the opposition, gives some momentum to you, but also, statistically speaking and game-wise, getting it done with 2 outs is a lot harder.
Now,
getting it
John,
done
do
with
you
3.
think they bunt in this spot? Their baseman's
Got it.
terror is creeping. Lombardi swings on the hit and run. It's a base hit. They will hold Young Jr. at second base. Talk about that piece of hitting right there for the Cougars. Lombardi swinging at the first pitch, and because Flashner was going to cover second base on the potential steal from Young Jr., it allowed the ball to go right past him for a base hit, and now the go-ahead run for Caldwell is on first, and the tying runs at second base.
That was executed to perfection. Lombardi faked the bunt, and the steal had to pull the shortstop over to second base, and he just slapped it right where he would have been.
And how about that? A wild pitch will now allow both runners to go into scoring position. The cleanup hitter, Liam James, who you don't see often in any type of baseball, the cleanup hitter going down for the bunt. And the wild pitch now lets both runners advance. And now, with just a base hit right here for James, that will give Caldwell the lead late in this game.
Yeah, this is a tough look here, and Pusinelli needs to dial it in. Needs a strikeout here. You got the infield in, so obviously anything in front of them, you check the runner.
And there's another wild pitch. Here comes Young Jr. He slides in safely. And Caldwell has tied the game at 3.
Tie game, and there's still a runner on third, nobody out. That's the winning run out there. So Pusinelli needs to command the zone here, and it looks like if you got the cleanup hitter with an advantage count, don't try to force anything, and you might have to walk and go get it down in the bottom of the order.
A disastrous start of the inning for the Dolphins, and now a chance for James with a fly ball to give his team the lead. And before that last pitch, or 2 pitches ago, John, down the count 1-0, I was going to make the point of, do you maybe potentially just walk him to load the bases and try to get it out, and that variety try to get a double play? But that's now all a moot point off of that wild pitch, as that one's fouled on the third base line. Count evens at 2.
Disaster striking for CSI here, and this is a lot of what I saw last year when even when they had late leads, they were unable to close games out, and that's what happens when you let a team get a little momentum. Something as small as a leadoff hit by pitch, they get a little action going, and you bring the heart of their order up. That is a recipe for disaster.
Ripped foul off of the suite and toward the first base dugout as his count remains 2-2. Infield all the way in for the Dolphins, trying to prevent the runner from third from scoring. A fly ball into one of the outfielders would bring home that runner from third and give Caldwell their first lead. The 2-2 just misses on the outside for ball 3. Dolphins wanted that pitch right there. And now it's a full count for the Caldwell cleanup hitter, James.
Can't give in to him, though, right here. If you miss, you miss, but this is a cleanup hitter for a reason. You cannot give in.
And that should do it for the runner at third. Palomini makes the catch. Here comes the runner from third. The throw to the plate is in time. He is out as Keogh held on to it.
Chris Palomini, I called you a playmaker before, and you deliver yet again. Preserve the tie. Do not let Caldwell take the lead. Beautiful catch and a hose to...
Now, John, I didn't want to cut you off, but lost in that entire play. Keogh, who's behind the plate, made the play and held onto the ball. Testament to him, but he had a collision with Lombardi, and it looks like he was holding his hand after that play at home plate. But you mentioned it. What an unbelievable throw from Palomini out in center field. Threw it on a rope perfectly to his catcher to get the second out and keep this game tied. But obviously now the concern is down the third base line toward the Dolphin dugout and seeing if their catcher, Michael Keogh, is okay.
Yeah, that's obviously a priority. He made a fantastic play holding on to that ball. That is a very difficult play as a catcher. You know the runner's coming. You got to stand your ground. You got to catch the ball with somebody in your face and make a clean tag, which he did. Fantastic play. And the good news is it looks like Kehoe is going to try to gut this one out. So glad to see that.
And the
he's
only
okay.
thing that unfortunate for us was because of the shadow behind home plate. I don't know how good of a look was on the replay. I just showed it a few seconds ago, but an unbelievable throw from Palomini. That was a shallow fly ball in the center field, and he had to make a strong throw to get Lombardi out at the plate. Initially, I thought that was potentially going to drop in or at least be just enough for the sacrifice fly. That is not indeed the case. The Dolphins turning a very rare 8-2 double play, and now they are 1 out away from heading this game into the bottom of the 7th, looking for a chance to go back on top.
If they win this game, Chris Palomini's got to be the MVP. He atoned for that early error in center field at the beginning of the game by getting that run back, and he just saved the Dolphins the lead for right now with a beautiful 8-2 double play, catching a little blooper and throwing a Vladimir Guerrero Sr.-esque throw to home plate on a tightrope.
I like it. Vlad Sr., one of my favorite players growing up.
Chris Palomini, you're my MVP, baby. You're my MVP.
Sean Brown is the batter here for Caldwell. He's in the count now 1-1. But a huge play for the Dolphins because you consider the factor, even if Lombardi was maybe not to have gone on that play, it still would have had a runner on third and just 1 out. But the Cougars ran the risk of sending the runner home. And Palomini's throw was on the money to keep this game going, keep this game tied.
But you know what, though? That's the right play if you're Caldwell, because that is still a very tough throw. It had to take literally a perfect throw to get the runner out at home plate. That is a deep throw, and it had to be on a line. The tag had to be there. Everything had to go the right way. That is a play that does not happen very often because of the execution has to be literally perfect. So I don't blame the Cougars for trying to go for the lead right there.
That one on the outside for a ball, 2-2. Now, the good thing also, John, I forgot to mention as this bat was going on, is we saw Michael Kehoe. He's still behind the plate for the Dolphins, so it does seem to be okay, and that is a great sign for CSI to have him there still into this game. As here's the 2-2 for Pusinelli. And I don't think that hit him. It just missed hitting the batter Brown to load the count at full at 3-2.
He's been backing up that off-speed breaking ball. It looks to be like a slider. It's tough to see from up here, and he's backed that in a couple times, and he's almost hit a couple of batters as well as hitting the leadoff guy. So he's got to get that down a little bit because you don't want to hang those.
Here comes the 3-2 from Pusinelli, and that one misses in the dirt for ball 4. So another 2-out walk issued by the Dolphins will keep this inning going for Caldwell and Devon Cass now, with a huge opportunity to keep this inning going for Caldwell and potentially give them their first lead of this game.
This is the big moment here. You get a fantastic play from your center fielder and your catcher. 2 outs, tie game, and you have a 2-out walk. What do we say about those earlier in the game? Now for Nick Pusinelli, you gotta lock it in. No more damage, no more extra base runners. Let's get CSI back out into the box.
And something to know about the runner at first base, Sean Brown. 4 stolen bases on the year last year. He's getting a hefty lead at first base. Thought about going, but it goes back, and it's strike for a 1-1 count. And I think in this spot, you do run the risk of maybe do you try to send the runner into scoring position to give Cass an opportunity with one swing to get an RBI hit. We already saw a hit and run already in this inning that worked to perfection. Would they potentially do it again?
I think you got to give it a shot. You see Pusinelli throwing that big, slow breaking balls. It's a moot point. Routine ground ball hit to second, and the play is made. Side retired. The Dolphins will go back to the box, but Caldwell ties it up. Let's see if the Dolphins can walk it off in the bottom of the 7th.
And how about this play? We'll get one more look at it, John, before we head into break. Palomini makes the catch to center. A strong throw to the plate in time, and a great job behind the play by Michael Kehoe, who thankfully is okay. Stays into the game, is able to make the tag and record the second out, I should say, of that 7th inning. The Dolphins get that final out on that ground ball to Leno out at second base. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Dolphins looking for the chance to walk it off as this game is tied at 3.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
Bottom of the 7th here at SIUH Community Park. A now tied ball game between the Cougars and the Dolphins. As we see a pinch hitter to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning for CSI, that being John Harrington. Batting from Michael Keogh. So we did mention that Keogh did finish that last half inning behind the plate. They might take him out as precautionary for the rest of this game and maybe even the next game as well. So we'll have to see if Keogh does play in game number 2 of this doubleheader. But nonetheless, Harrington is the batter here in the bottom of the 7th, trying to get on base to give the Dolphins a chance to potentially walk this off.
You got to see how Keogh's hand swells up too, and hopefully it doesn't. But if you're Harrington here, you've seen Foote throw this parachute of a breaking ball. It looks like a big curveball here, so make sure he's locking it in on the strike zone. Otherwise, you can spin on it and try to work out a bottom of the lineup walk to flip it over. But I'll tell you what, we've seen these two relievers here this past inning throw a lot of these parachute breaking balls.
Swing and a miss right there from Harrington, strike 3, and there's now one away. Now, the other thing also, John, is that, obviously if the Dolphins are able to walk it off in this inning, if that's the case, hopefully it's not one where I can call the walk-off and then they just keep playing on. Because then that will look really bad for that would look pretty bad for me here at the commentator's desk at the press box. So hopefully the Dolphins are in a situation where they can walk it off in this inning. As Michael Flasher will now bat here, this Dolphins go back to the top of their lineup. So misses for a ball.
The Cougar, after Young got hit to open up last inning, the Cougar dugout was going pretty nuts.
They were going, yeah, they were very
seems like it might be a little bit
animatic.
They sense the end is near and they got to get it done.
I think I just made up a word what I just said. I said animatic. That is not a word, John.
No, it's not.
It's not a word.
Announcers jinx and maker.
I'm just making up words at this point. But when you have a contest like this, I guess you have to make up some words. Wild games so far, just the first of 2 here today at SIUH Community Park. And we've seen a walk-off happen here at this facility. We saw it last year. Nico Rodriguez getting a walk-off hit against Holy Family. The Dolphins have the potential to do it again here today. Flashner hits this one to second. Hernandez is there. He'll throw it onto first base, and the low throw is scooped in time for the second out of the inning.
Glove silky smooth right there, and quickly CSI is down to 2 outs. And Leno got to get something started here. So he did it earlier in the game, and let's see if he can do it again. And I think with this breaking ball that Foote is continuously throwing, just got to hold back on it because I think there's going to be an opportunity to drive it. It looks like he's hung a couple of these breaking balls.
Leno, the hero yesterday in Game 1 against Chestnut Hill. Can he do it again here today in Game 1 against Caldwell? Tie game at 3, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Count 1-0. As Ben Foote, the pitcher, trying to keep this game tied heading into the 8th. That one misses for a ball, 2-0. And I think also here, John, is you don't want to walk Leno in this spot, bringing that Palomini and Vigliotti are the next 2 batters for the Dolphins. Those are the 2 guys they won up in this spot.
Yeah, that's exactly the 2-out walk concept. It's brutal. You get 2 quick outs, and then you're not only going to walk somebody, which it looks like it's a routine fly ball to left, side retired, We are going to extras. They said 7 innings. No way. We want to play more baseball.
We might have the traditional 8 regardless if it was going to be a 9-inning game or not. As we now head into the top of the 8th inning, as you mentioned, the game tied at 3 between the Cougars and the Dolphins.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Holmes.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
All right, John, back here at SIUH Community Park. Top of the 8th inning, 3-3 the score. And a couple of changes for the Dolphins here in this inning. We have Jake Giovannone, now the new catcher behind the plate for the Dolphins, as he replaces Michael Keogh, who was pinch hit in that previous half inning. Also on the mound as well now for the Dolphins, a new pitcher is Christopher Martinez, as he'll get the ball here in the 8th inning. For Martinez, this will be his 3rd appearance of the year. He's pitched in 3 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, all those earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, an ERA of 10.8. So comes into a very interesting spot. Tie game at 3, top of the 8th, and Caldwell looking for their first lead of this day.
Yeah, Caldwell has showed a lot of resilience here. They gave up an early lead and started with Scalini. He was staying tough. He did not bend, and the rest of the game has been pretty good for the Caldwell pitching. And you look at it in the time where they needed it most, they made some action happen, found a way to get on, got creative with a little hit and run, slap hit towards where the shortstop is, and a couple wild pitches, and boom, it's a tie game. So credit to the Cougars for not going away.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Credit to Scalisi because got off to a really rough start, gave up 2 runs in that first inning, allowed 38 pitches. Worked his way into pitching a very solid performance and only allowed 1 other run, that being the base hit to Palomini. And I think the beauty of it is he kept his team in the game and kept them within 2 runs. And you saw these last 2 innings, Caldwell was able to chip away, and now they've knotted this game up at 3 here in the top of the 8th as that first pitch is a ball from Martinez, 1-0 the count. Jimmy Kurtz, the leadoff batter here for Caldwell here in this top of the 8th.
You got 7, 8, 9 here. So CSI, you got to get a 1, 2, 3 inning. You cannot let this lineup flip. We've seen what happens. So we're sitting here in the top of the 8th with the bottom 3 Cougar hitters up. You get out of this, you have an opportunity to go walk it off in the 8th.
Yeah, as you mentioned, bottom of the order for Caldwell here in this 8th inning. It is Kurtz, Hop, and then the new second baseman, Alan Hernandez, potentially getting his first at bat. Unless they do bring in a pinch hitter, we'll have to see in the next few moments. Here comes the 2-1. That one skips in the dirt. And that was actually ball 4. So that will lead a 4-pitch walk, So the count I thought was 2-1. It was 3-0. And it's a 4-pitch walk, John, to start off this inning. And now the go-ahead runner is on first base. And that'll also lead to a pinch runner down the first base line. Trying to see if I can get the number. I think that is number 30. That is number 30, Mundo Gonzalez. Now the new pinch runner. And at the plate is the catcher, Chris Hop.
Yeah, you never want to come into the game and walk the leadoff guy, especially with the result hanging in the balance here. But looks like CSI is going to have to contend with a bunt, I would imagine.
I was thinking the same thing, John.
You got
the same thing.
This is simple baseball here. You're playing for 1 run, and Caldwell, let's see if they can get the bunt down, because We've seen a lot of hitters in college that cannot execute this.
They go for the bunt. There's the steal at second from Gonzalez. He's in there safely. So Caldwell seeing the new change at catcher. Giovanni cannot get that one in time to second base. Gonzalez is now into scoring position right here for Hoff. So Hoff was showing bunt to start off the at-bat. He might now try to swing away and with a single give Caldwell their first lead of this game.
You know what? I like that chance by Caldwell. You bring in a new catcher, it's probably going to be a downgrade because he's not a starter. And you take 90 feet, a big 90 feet, and I think I'm bunting again.
Hoff does swing away, hits it fouled on the right field line. It's now 1-1. So dangerous spot here early for Martinez, who, keep in mind, John, also did pitch in yesterday's doubleheader against Chestnut Hill. He threw 1 inning in that game, allowed 3 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. So he's trying to bounce back here today. And has already gotten him into some early jam in this 8th inning.
Martinez has just got to find the strike zone here. It looks like he's been a little bit slow to the plate, and that's giving the runner out on second base a lot of wiggle room to dance around and take some extra steps out there closer to third base. So, Martinez needs that big out right now. You still have the bottom of the lineup up. Even if somehow a ground ball moves the runner over to third, you get the out. You got to get the out.
Back at second base for Martinez. Here comes the pitch. And it misses for ball 3. And you mentioned it earlier coming into this inning. It was 7, 8, and 9 for Caldwell to start this inning. They are now one pitch away from having first and second, nobody out, and the number 9 hitter coming to the plate, which certainly can lead to another potential bunt opportunity, bringing back the top of the lineup.
Yeah, this is a big at bat for Martinez here.
They go to second, and the Dolphins cannot make the play. It was bobbled by Flashner off the glove, and that will allow the runner to now go to third.
That's unfortunate, man, because I was mentioning it before. Martinez being slow to the plate was giving the runner on second a lot of confidence. He was doing a lot of dancing out there. He guessed wrong because it was a pickoff, but the Dolphins could not finish the play, and that's another 90 feet with a runner on third, nobody out, and the Dolphins bring the infield in.
Here comes the 3-1, and it misses on the outside for ball 4. So the Dolphins now at first and third. Still nobody out. That takes away, they would have been not as bad being in this situation, knowing that a bunt probably would have happened in that spot for Hernandez. But going back to that pickoff at second, if Flashner is able to make the catch, it might have gotten behind him a little bit on the throw. If that's a perfectly executed play, the Dolphins have him in the rundown, and they have a chance to get that out. And Caldwell caught a huge break right there.
Yeah.
And is now a sacrifice fly away, potentially, for taking this lead for the first time.
And those are the dangers when you walk somebody. And you see CSI moving their middle infielders back, pinching them.
That one hit into center. Let's see if they try a tag again. Palomini is running on it. He will make the catch. And after that last throw he made in the previous inning, they will not attempt to do it once again. And there's one away.
I think Caldwell was thinking about it. He said, no way. We're not letting this happen twice in a row. Palomini, certified cannon out there in center field. Not going to happen 2 innings in a row.
And if you didn't see as well, John, he almost lost that play in the sun again. Thankfully, was able for the Dolphins. He was thankfully able to make that catch before it bobbled out of the glove. So a huge sigh of relief and a huge first out for CSI. We're now back to the top of the lineup. It's Christian Rinnick. First and third, Dolphins a double play away from getting out of the jam. They do show bunt. Suicide squeeze. It works. And no play will be made at first. And Caldwell has taken the lead 4-3.
Wow. This Caldwell Cougar team will not die. The coaching has called fantastic plays this entire inning. Suicide squeeze, that's the stuff we hear about in movies. Those are very beautiful when they're executed to perfection, and that's what Caldwell just did.
A unconventional way of Caldwell taking the lead on the suicide squeeze from their leadoff hitter, Rinnick. And now they have their first lead of the day, 4-3 here in the 8th. Still only 1 out and first and second. And there's a base hit for Stephen Young Jr. Hop will round third. He will try to score. Waterman throws it in. They'll have no play at the plate. RBI single for Young Jr. Caldwell has now a 5-3 lead.
And right before that, I was going to say, if you're Martinez, you cannot let this snowball. One run, that's it. You still got last licks. You get one more at bat, but now with a lead that is just building out for Caldwell, it makes it very difficult to stack these runs out. So CSI cannot afford to allow any more runs. It's got to be it for them. They have one out. They need to turn a double play to keep this where it's at.
Liam Lombardi now the batter here. He hits this one a mile high into right field. Keogh on the run, battling the sun in foul territory, and he runs out of real estate, and the count will go to 0-1. And John, right here, this is the spot where the Dolphins really need that double play. This inning has already so far been bad, but it has a potential to even go further worse for the Dolphins if they do not escape, now trailing by 2 runs.
Yeah, this is starting to get into real danger territory because you already gave up 2 runs this inning, but the fact is 2 runs is still manageable to come back from in the bottom of the frame, but you start giving up 3-4 runs and let this snowball, that'll be much more difficult.
Lombardi now hits this one to left, long run for Waterman, and that will be out of play, foul, and the count now goes to 0-2. So Martinez now a strike away from getting the second out of the inning. No action up in the Dolphin bullpen, so they are hoping that Martinez can get them out of this jam, keep them within reach heading into the bottom of the 8th. 0-2 now the count to Lombardi, the Caldwell center fielder. And he hits this one into shallow right center. Leno is there. He will make the play, but the infield fly rule was called in effect, so regardless, there is the second out of the inning. And the Dolphins now are 1 out away from getting out of this jam, as Liam James, the cleanup hitter for Caldwell, now comes up to the plate.
Now you're still 1 out away. Can't relax here, though. You have to still execute your pitches and execute in the field. Just because you have 2 outs and you're almost out of it doesn't mean you're out of it. You got to stay aggressive, stay on the hunt here if you're the Dolphins.
There goes the runners. James swings. That one's into right center field. That one's going to drop. Both runners will score. James is going to get himself an extra base hit. It's a 2-run double for Liam James, and Caldwell has put up a 4 spot here in the 8th. They now lead this one 7-3.
Oh, wow. That was beautiful. We've talked about how Caldwell and their coaching staff has just been calling such aggressive plays on the bases. At first, it looked like a double steal, which is what they've been doing all day, trying to create havoc on the bases. But then they decide, nope, you know what? We're going to do a double hit and run. And James hit one right where A.J. Vigliotti hit one in the first inning of this game.
That right center field gap.
Roped that right center gap for a double. Caldwell is taking late command of this game. Got to give credit for hanging around and making it count when the game was on the line.
Think of how they scored their runs as well in this inning. A sacrifice, or I shouldn't say sacrifice, they got a suicide squeeze to get them that first run. Then they got another base hit from Young Jr. to give them the 5th run. And then that big 2-run double to now put them up 4. And now, for the Dolphins, they need to at least hope that it's just at the very worst 4 runs heading into the bottom half of the 8th.
This is going to be a tall task to overcome.
Definitely will be.
No sugarcoating it. And it's a shame because Aiden Keelty, he threw a great game today. He kept his team in the game all day. He gave his team a chance to win. And it's unfortunate, but if you're CSI, you can't let this deflate you. You still have another game to play this afternoon, so you got to be able to fight and finish strong.
And I think the only thing that might come back that haunts the Dolphins in this game is the 6th inning, as that's the ground ball to Sotero. He'll throw it onto first base in time for the final out. But before we head into break, John, I think the point being that 6th inning really comes back to bite the Dolphins. They allowed the run via the balk and then the wild pitch. They put Caldwell within a run. They were able to tie the game in the top of the 7th. We now head into the bottom of the 8th after a 4-run outburst for the Cougars here in the top of the 8th inning. Dolphins come to bat now trailing 7-3. Chris Palomini will lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th. And John, for the first time today, the Dolphins now trailing in this game 7-3. A unfortunate 4-run top of the 8th. The big blow of it being the 2-run double from Liam James to extend this Caldwell lead now to 4. But what an inning Caldwell having. A suicide squeeze giving them their first lead. They attacked for another run off the young junior hit. And then the James 2-run double now is giving them a 4-run cushion.
Yeah, it's a shame for CSI because they played a great game throughout, but it's just one disaster inning. And if you're the offense here, you have to compose yourself and realize, okay, we're not one swing away from this game right now. You can't get it all back. You just got to get on and try to build a foundation.
And how about that? That will definitely help the Dolphins. It's an infield single for Chris Palomini, as that one was hit to Rinnick at short, but not able to make the play. So the Dolphins get the leadoff runner on, and down 4 runs, John, that's exactly what they need to start off the inning. Now they need to continue that momentum if they want to get back into this game. Let's see what A.J. Vigliotti can do here, already having driven in a couple runs.
What can't Palomini do? He's done it all today, and it's a routine ground ball to short, and he's hustling, and he beats it out, and look at this. Man on first, nobody out. That's the kind of fight you want to see from the Dolphins. Great job. Still a long way to go, but that's the kind of stuff that's going to help you get back into this game and hopefully walk it off with a monster inning.
That one hit to short. Riddick having to play that one toughly. Gets it to second for 1. Throw on to first. Double play. 6-4-3 double play. The third double play turned by the Cougars today. And John, just like that, after the leadoff hit, the Dolphins are down to the final out.
Brother, these twin killings have been killing us all day long. And just got to give Caldwell credit, man. They've made the plays when they had to. Even when they were staring adversity in the face, they did not blink. And if you're CSI, that is very unfortunate. Now it's up to the rest of the crew with 1 out left.
Waterman takes a swing and a miss for a strike, 0-1. This game has unfortunately just gone the wrong ways for the Dolphins. 3-1 lead. They had a couple chances to increase their lead. Were not able to bring home some runs. I mentioned that 6th inning. They allowed a balk, a wild pitch against Fiore. Made it a 1-run game. Caldwell able to tie it in the 7th. Dolphins, thankfully for their case, were able to keep the game tied off that double play at home plate. But a 4-run 8th gives Caldwell the lead. And they now get the strikeout, and that will do it. Caldwell comes from behind and takes game 1 of this doubleheader as they take this one 7-3, and a great pitching performance from the Cougars in this one, John. We mentioned Scalisi was able to work around that bad first inning, keep this game within reach. Ben Foote comes out of relief and does the job. He'll get the victory in this game and give Caldwell a 1-0 start to the 2025 season.
Yeah, I mentioned it all in this late frame here. Incredible resiliency from Caldwell. They battled back. They made the big plays in the late innings, and they deserve to win this ball game. So there's still another game to go in about an hour or so. So let's see both teams rest, recover, unwind, and then ramp it back up for what's hopefully a great finish.
I'll give one more final finish out for the spring games for softball. Softball did come out on top with the victory over the University of Merity, 4-3, the final in that game. If you want to catch those games while you're waiting for us here back at baseball, tune in to CSI Sportsnet's YouTube page and check out those games. Our broadcast partner Joe Foreman and Joe Calabrese on the call for those games out in Claremont. For the Dolphins here at baseball, they play another game around 4:30. Is the scheduled time for that second game of this doubleheader between the Dolphins and the Cougars. For softball, they also play at 4:30. They'll be playing the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown in that doubleheader for the Dolphins' start of their spring games. But, John, as we mentioned before we head into our sign-off, a rough start for the Dolphins in this game. They fall 7-3, and now we'll see if they can come back in game number 2, looking to at least split this doubleheader.
You got to split the doubleheader. You can't give away 2 games here on this Sunday, especially after commanding 90+% of game 1 here. And this is going to be a test of resiliency to the Dolphins. Can they flush what happened in game 1 and rebound for game 2, finish strong? You get the split, life goes on.
Well, we'll have to see if that is indeed the case for CSI going into game number 2, if they can split the doubleheader with the Cougars of Caldwell University and trying to head into this upcoming weekend, at least with a split over the Cougars. So for John and I here at the press box at the broadcast booth, we're going to sign off for now here at the end of Game 1. We'll be back on the call, hopefully trying to get online at least maybe 15 minutes or 10 minutes before the first pitch with our pregame show sponsored by McDonald's for Game 2's coverage of today's matchup and doubleheader between the Dolphins and the Cougars. Once again, the final score in Game number 1, Caldwell 7, CSI 3. We'll see you all for Game number 2